Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
All right, everybody, welcome. It's Toker Talk Radio, March 27th, hanging out. Do that, that's fine. That's stuff for Brian. Big thanks to Anthony Johnson for stopping in. He brought us some OCIA gear, Oregon Cannabis Industry Association. So I have another t-shirt and another hat, which is good because, I was in grave danger of running out of t-shirts and hats. Left Wing Larry stopped in here. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing just great.
Gotta find you a pair of headphones there?
Yes, I gotta find me a pair of headphones so I can see what's going on, or hear what's going on.
There you go.
See what's going on.
How was it the last couple of weeks with me gone?
Been kind of quiet around here.
Yeah?
Yeah. Other than that...
Garden doing okay?
The garden is doing just fine. Oh, yeah.
Get close.
Got to get a little closer so we can hear me.
There you are.
I'm not a radio broadcaster like you and
That's right.
Brian is.
But the plants are okay?
Oh, the plants are doing just fine, yes. They're about chest high right now.
Awesome.
And but I'm still not seeing any pistils, so I don't know what's female, what's male yet, but... just as soon as I find that out, I will transplant into the 15-gallon pots, and we will be growing us some medicine.
All right. Looking forward to that. Hey, coming up soon here in hour 2, I'm continuing my coverage of the Southern Cannabis Reform Conference. So I got another panel coming up. It's the Georgia Reform Panel. It features James Bell from Georgia Care, Jeremy Sharp from SSDP in Georgia, and Sharon Ravert from Peachtree Normal. And they're just talking about what the politics are, what's happening in Georgia and around the South, and where they go from here. And I got to tell you, in just 3 years, it's remarkable how far they've come. And the fact that I'm not sitting in jail is evidence of that.
Yes, it is.
Wow. I don't know if you missed the last couple of days. I've been telling the story of Saturday night. But yeah, Saturday night I lost my mind. I went nuts. I went crazy. I really did. There's no rational excuse for it. I just lost my ever-loving, cotton-picking, flea-bitten mind. And I do about once every 5 years. About once every 5, because I don't know. I kind of think I'm one of those guys that's like in control. I like things organized. I like to be on top of stuff. I don't like things to be chaotic and reckless. Even though like we do it live and it's chaotic, sometimes there's a order to it, right? I don't usually let my hair down, paint the town red, but man, I did Saturday.
I used to do the same thing with alcohol in my drinking days. But, every once in a while, my truck or my car, whichever I was driving at the time, would just couldn't find its way home, so it had to stay in the parking lot overnight.
Yeah. And it's nothing to be proud of. I was really stupid. I could have really caused a lot of damage. Not just, whether or not I go to jail, that's fine. That's my own damn thing. But I could have hurt, the reform movement and, people's pocketbooks and reputations. And so it wasn't a good thing. And the thing is, I could have had as much fun and not been stupid. Really, it was just like at two different points in the evening. If I'd have just done what I normally do, the smart thing, we'd have not had a problem.
Well, that's what I found out when I was drinking. The old company I worked for before I retired, I was known as Two Beer Larry.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I drank that third beer, I was going to lose control.
I see.
And so I would drink 2 beers, and that was it. And I was always the designated driver.
Gotcha.
Because nobody else could drink just 2 beers but me.
Somebody in the chat room is teasing me saying, let your hair down, Russ. Yeah, I did. I let it down, and it never came back. It escaped. I'm getting off this crazy head, man. Who knows what this guy's going to do?
Oh, I want to try out this new blackberry you got down there.
Oh, some blackberry kush? All right.
Yeah.
We have some. Do you want the little bong?
Well, let's wait 14 minutes, and we'll do it at 4:20.
Because we'll be playing the whole panel.
Oh,
so we won't have our regular 20 after. We'll have to do it now.
Okay. Well, let's try some blackberry, and we'll give a critique for Coleco.
Okay. So we'll pull up our monster bong that actually this has blackberry in it. It's only been puffed on once.
Oh, okay.
So give that a shot. I'll light for you if you want me to.
This thing is just too damn big.
I know. That's why I bought it, so I could hear people say that for once in my life. There you go. And it does smell like blackberry, doesn't it? And I'm not normally a kush guy, but I need to kind of take the edge off, and this is going to work. But let's take a look at this. This is some of the... But can you smell that? I mean, you can just smell it already. From the... it does got a very blackberry smell, doesn't it? Like that?
A little bit of a blackberry smell.
Yeah.
Not as much as that grapefruit did.
No.
God, I've never seen anything like that.
Let's see what we can get on the bud cam here. See if this will show up anything. But, yeah, we had ourselves a good time down in the South. And big thanks to, of course, Peachtree Normal and Sharon Ravert and Timmy, Big Daddy Fink, who got me all caught up on all my Marvel movies. Right? Like the Thor 2 and Iron Man 3 and all those things that I haven't seen lately. Here we go.
There you go.
There you go. You can see a little bit. There are some nice trichomes there. Let's pull that back just a bit. Bud cam. There we go. So that's a look at some of the Blackberry Kush that we're working with right now from brightsidepdx.com. You can check them out on the web as well. Also, I have to tease this again. The Russ Belville Show is about to get a whole lot more exposure.
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot more. I got an email today from a very important distributor of digital content, let's just put it that way, who is going to feature the Russ Belville Show. So as soon as everything's signed and inked and all that, I'll let you know. But this chat room could get pretty busy in the next coming weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Sunday and Monday, I'll be in Eugene, Oregon for the Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference. We will bring you some video and some audio from that as well. Then the very next thing coming, 420. It's 420, Larry. 420's coming.
We got a trip to plan, and and while you're in down in Eugene, I'm going to be down at the bookstore meeting with our former president, 39th president of the United States. He's going to be in town on Sunday, and I should have brought the information down.
Yeah.
It's on Burnside. I do know that.
Is it Powell's?
It's a used bookstore.
Yeah, it's Powell's. Powell. If Jimmy Carter's going to be anywhere, it's going to be Powell's Bookstore.
Powell's Bookstore.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, the 39th President of the United States is going to be in town, and hopefully I can get a picture with him. And
I was just taking a picture of his statue there at the state capitol in Georgia.
Pardon?
I was just taking a picture of the statue of Jimmy at the state capitol in Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a big, nice statue. Of course, the Carter Center's down there. And his grandson, Jason Carter,
is running for governor.
And is a proponent of the medical marijuana bills that Peachtree Normal is supporting. So there could be some big news coming out of the South. All right, speaking of the South, let's talk about their politics. This is the Georgia Reform Panel at the Southern Cannabis Reform Conference. Enjoy.
Good morning. Free the weed. Free the weed. Free the weed. Thank you all again for coming to the second annual Southern Cannabis Reform Conference. Big round of applause for Sharon for opening up for us today. My name is Vincent Cheeks, and I am the Arts and Entertainment Liaison for Peachtree Normal. I started out as a volunteer and recently became a member. Today, our first panel, the topic will be the Activist Corner, an introduction to marijuana and how you can get involved in your community. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a big change in perception of how people view marijuana. Almost half the states have enacted some type of reform for marijuana laws. Even over in Italy, they just repealed their harsh marijuana laws, and they're set to release potentially 10,000 prisoners from their overcrowded jails due to marijuana. And even the most recent Gallup poll shows that 58% of Americans think that marijuana should be legalized. So, today we're going to discuss marijuana and how we can get involved in our community. On our panel, we have Sharon Ravert, the director of Peachtree Normal and Moms Marijuana. We have Jeremy Sharp, who is the founder of Students for Sensible Drug Policy at the University of North Georgia. And we also have James Bell, who is the director of Georgia Care, the Campaign for Access, Reform, and Education. Big round of applause for our panel, please. Sharon, I'll start with you. Okay, I'll give you that. You're my director.
Okay, let the guys go first.
James, I'll start with you. Given the statistics that I just stated, why do you think there's still such a heavy reluctance by the federal government to legalize marijuana?
Well, after decades and decades of this policy in the war on drugs, it's kind of hard to change from that. Certainly, there's a lot of legislation pending on the federal level. We actually have lobbyists and activists working Washington, D.C. Washington, the city, the district of Washington, D.C. just decriminalized. So things are changing in this country slowly. One state, one district, one area at a time. Sometimes cities are changing the law. So, sometimes you got to sidestep the federal government and let the states do what they need to do, and that's to run their own business and determine what is crimes and what is not crimes. So, I'm not sure that the federal government's that important at this point when we already have 20 states with some medical law, multiple states considering decriminalization, legalization in some form. So, one state, one area at a time is going to change. The federal government will just be left behind here, and I view it as some form of nullification of federal law. So at some point, hopefully, the feds will realize that the states are not going to play the game with them, and they're going to change their laws, and we're going to have a little more freedom in this country.
Thank you, James. Now, Jeremy, for you, why do you think the federal government is so reluctant to legalize marijuana?
I believe it's because we cannot patent marijuana. It's really hard to make money off it. Well, it's not hard to make money off it, but for a company to come in and to be registered and have all the things, they can't hold a patent on it. Also, you've got a whole industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, set up and operating, making billions and billions of dollars off of arresting and prosecuting marijuana convictions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sharon Ravert. Why do you think the federal government is reluctant to legalize marijuana, given the shift in perception?
With all the things I just said, I would say they're ignorant and they're mean.
Here.
And at this point, like James had mentioned, we only have 2 actual full-time lobbyists working on this issue in Washington, D.C. One of them is Howard Woolridge. He is a leaf speaker, law enforcement against prohibition. And then there's an, MPP. Of course, Normal and MPP and DPA are in the area. Normal actually has a office on K Street where the lobbyists are. And honestly, they weren't even asked to come to speak. They've been there for 40 years. And last year and this year are the first years that they've actually been taken serious. So in general, the whole world is changing, not just the United States. And that, I think, is what's going to push the federal government's hands. Not just the states here and what we're doing, but places like Uruguay that are decriminalizing and legalizing all drugs. And when they see that that is a helpful way to do things in their country, I'm hoping that a lot of the people like Vincente Fox and the people in Canada, Mexico, and these other places are going to force the federal government's hands eventually.
Thank you, Sharon. Question number 2 for the panel. Jeremy, I'll start with you this time. Again, given the shift in perception, what do you think should be the next stage in our fight to end marijuana prohibition? And how can we get more of the closeted marijuana smokers into the fight with us?
I think the next stage in Georgia would definitely be decrim, as well as getting medical patients out to lobby for medical marijuana. I think all-out legalization in Georgia is a distant idea, but we do need to focus on small steps like decrim and medical here in Georgia. I think to get people out, we have to stand up and let them know it's okay for them to stand up for their views. I've heard Sharon say we need people to stand beside us. The more people we have standing beside us, the more CNN documentaries by Sanjay Gupta, the more polls. We need to make people feel comfortable, whether it's on Facebook or whatever. Support your views. Let other people know that this is how you feel and it's okay to feel that way, because there still is some animosity or a stigmata as being a marijuana activist. People in the South do view us as people that just want to legalize drugs and get high and suffer no consequences. In reality, we want to end the war on drugs. We want to stop all these arrests. So it's on us, the people that are here, to encourage other people to stand up and fight beside us.
Thank you, Jeremy. James?
Question was, what's next?
Yes, what is the next stage, and how can we get more people to join the fight with us?
Yeah, it's one thing to get cannabis consumers to come together and get busy and do something. It's another thing to go out and get people who simply support freedom and liberty in this country. There's a lot of people out there who don't use marijuana that support us also. And I think the next step is to continue building on the success that we've had, and that is building relationships and rapport with our lawmakers and continually to let them know that we're there. I mean, when Sharon did her press conference and there were 75 to 100 people standing behind her on the steps of the Capitol, that was a powerful message to our lawmakers, and it was really incredible seeing that. So this is what we need more of. You're a part of this. You're here today. You're part of this movement, and we just need your help to continue what we're doing. People from all over the states are coming involved. Activists in Savannah and Waycross and LJ, Augusta, And I'm sure you guys are probably from all the states, some of you are from various other states. So we just need your help to continue doing what we're doing and keep pushing.
Thank you, James. Sharon, what do you believe?
One of the things, we need a couple of millionaires to come forward and help fund some of these projects.
Please, if anyone knows any millionaires out there that are willing to back Peachtree Normal and what we're fighting for, please let us know. Okay, Sharon, what do you think should be the next step towards legalization, and how can we get more people involved in the fight to end prohibition?
What we've been doing so far is reaching out and educating the public. We've done a pretty good job on that, and we need to continue doing that. This past couple of years, we've also been educating our legislators, which is a huge part of it, because they're the ones that are going to be able to make the change. At this point, I see us having to reach out to our local law enforcement, our local teachers, the people that see the school-to-prison pipeline, your counselors in the area. And we're going to have to work each other, we're going to have at least one or two people in each county. That's all we really need, to step up and go talk to their local officials. We have to focus mainly at the Capitol, because obviously we can't go out and see 200 representatives in each of their areas. But the work that needs to be done from now until next year is the local level stuff, talking to your representatives, but not only them, talking to teachers and trying to get them on board. If you notice when we go through and work in legislative stuff, like the 911, I'll take that as an example, since we were involved in that to some degree. You don't only have to swap, one-on-one with the legislator. They want to hear from the DAs. They want to hear from the prosecuting attorneys. They want to hear from law enforcement and Rick Allen with the drug and narcotics, their views. And they can listen to me all day long. They want these people to sign off on bills like the 911 Good Samaritan law, which pretty much decriminalize some forms of illegal drugs. But they got the okay. Jeremy went out and talked to those people. Those are the kind of people we need to be focusing on in the next 6 months. Is our sheriffs and those types of people. And if you have any questions, we're going to start putting out. You can call James, myself, or Jeremy, anybody that's involved in any other group that's involved in this movement in Georgia, and we can help you write up letters or white paper, give you some talking points that you may want to go out and talk to people. But it's just reaching out. It's talking everywhere you go. And this is not as hard as it was when I got involved in it 7 years ago. You should have seen the looks I got in the Walmart when I brought marijuana up. Now, every single person on the radio and on the TV has been talking about this since December 31st, when legal marijuana sales started in Denver. It's been on our TV every single day. It's not hard to bring it up now. Talk to any and everybody that will listen. Come up with 2 or 3 talking points that you can get out in like 2 minutes. And I'm telling you, it'll start a conversation, and it'll go from there. And that will help you to practice what you want to say to the people that we really need to get to.
Thank you, Sharon. To sum up, we need to educate our friends. We need to educate the legislators. We need to find some millionaires. But the key thing, people, is educate, talk, educate, and talk. Those are my 2 questions for the panel. Now I'm going to open up to the floor. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask the panel, please stand up. Ma'am.
I'd just like you to take it a couple steps further and give us some ideas of the talking points that you think are important if we're going to do the talk.
Okay. I guess it would be where you're coming from. For instance, Jeremy would talk more about how it's affecting college kids. If you're a patient, you're going to want to talk about how it would help you. If you're not a patient, you have someone in your family that can benefit. So it's so broad. There's so many different ways to tackle this. An individual consult would probably be better. Normal.org has a lot of talking points. MPP, Marijuana Policy Project. I tend to go money issue, and I know some about these things, but I focus in at the very beginning to start the conversation about the rape that happened to my daughter. And that's where I go, is I tell our personal story. So if you have a personal story, or you know someone that has been affected by the drug war, that's where I would go first. The stories get their hearts, the statistics get their head. And so if you can open up your heart, they'll listen to you about the rest of it. And so for you specifically, I mean, there's probably, at least 15 different ways I could say to, you could go about it. It just depends on what your issue is. Do you like money? Do you want to talk the money issue? Have you got that person that's been affected by it? Did you have a brother with ALS, that has passed on? Those kind of stories get the door open. I don't know if that helped, but I'll be glad to talk to you afterwards.
Also, do your homework on your legislators. If you are speaking to a legislator who represents farm interests, pursue the agricultural aspects to him. Or, human health service, chairwoman, or something like that. You want to do the medical aspects. So just keep in mind who you're talking to. When you do speak to the legislators at the Capitol, you have about 2 or 3 minutes. So you want to be brief, concise, to the point, firm handshake, looking directly in the eyes, and tell them your story. And, worst comes to worst is a lot of people are intimidated in talking to their legislators. They're just like you and I. They're no different. They were probably out getting drunk last night too. So they're people, and be respectful, be concise, and be to the point.
My talking point is we're not criminals, and get them to try to justify on people who points treated different than wine. Wine's cannabis is treated different than wine, and try to get them to justify it and think about it. You're not going to convince everybody, but I think every time you talk to somebody, you plant the seed in their mind, and hopefully they'll think about that. You can't force it to happen. You just need to keep talking. There's a lot of people in this state, and I'm sure at some point we'll talk about some polling. But when 62% of likely voters in Georgia support decriminalization, it's the politicians who are out of step and out of touch with reality and what the people want. So they're still stuck in this decades of just say no, war on drugs. We need to let them know that the public doesn't think that way anymore. In the 1980s, during the Reagan days, 85% of Americans were willing to give up their constitutional rights to fight the war on drugs. Okay? That's the frenzy that the war on drugs got the American people in. The federal government tells us, they're going to go door to door, they're going to stop this scourge, and so things have changed. So the momentum's on our side for sure, and we just need to keep pushing. And like I said, every one of you can play a role in that. I do things like write editorial letters. The AJC just asked me to do another 500 words about the medical bill that went through. So your local paper is looking for stories. I do a thing called, we want to start these protests. We want to go to courthouses. It takes a couple people to go out and stand at your courthouse with some signs and a handout and just bring the attention to people going in and out of that courtroom, the lawyers and the defendants and the elected officials. They all need to know we're here and that we're involved. And it takes 2 people to go out and make a news story. Not everybody can go before the camera. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Keep pushing.
Okay, thank you. Hold on, ma'am. I saw another question back here. But please ask me the question, and then I'll paraphrase it to the panel, and they'll respond from there.
Okay. I just had a question about the bill that I guess recently failed to get passed. I noticed that it seemed like it had a lot of support, and then there was like an add-on that I guess required insurance companies to cover children with autism. And so I guess my question was that add-on put on there because I guess you can assume that the medical marijuana bill has so much support that would just be able to get passed through, or was that something to kind of like sabotage? Because it seems was they doing that to help or hurt?
Okay, so basically the question is, with House Bill 885 that just got shot down, there was a referendum added to the bill, and you want to know if the referendum was to sabotage the bill or to help the bill?
To sabotage the bill or to help the provision as far as insurance companies covering autism?
Was it to sabotage the bill or help with the provisions for insurance companies?
Both. I think that what it is political poker. And Renee Unterman has been working on she is the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee of the Senate. And when the House bill came over, it didn't have that amendment on it. She's been working on autism for 5 years now, this bill. It's very unpopular for the same reasons you just said. They don't want to force insurance companies to have to cover this. That's a nightmare. And we pretty much knew when it came on there it was probably not going through. I don't know if she did it. Well, the media's not here yet. I think she did it.
Say it.
Okay, so we have two women having a cat fight is what's going on down there. That's what it amounts to. It was Unterman versus Sharon Cooper, the Senate versus the House. And Sharon Cooper was pushing this bill, and Renee Unterman was upset, I believe, that the medical marijuana bill had so much support, yet the autism kids did not. And I think that she felt like this is a bill that I don't want to go through unless mine does. And so instead of helping part of the children in Georgia, she hurt all of them. And that's my comment.
I think because we were so close to the bill, I think you used the word sabotage, and they call it holding it hostage. That is, you're trying to force a bill to pass that one house wants something, I want something, therefore I'm going to try to force you and hold it hostage. I think it goes on a lot with a lot of bills. We just happen to, we're still learning this process. Politically, it was, this is the way they play the game, and this is what happens. Quite frankly, we try to support the bill. We try to give advice on, this is House Bill 885. We try to give advice on what should have happened. They were reluctant. They didn't want to listen to us. Quite frankly, I'm glad the bill failed at this point, because it simply, all it allowed for was to allow these parents to smuggle cannabis oil into the state of Georgia and face federal prosecution. What a stupid concept of creating another black market. So let's get down to what it really did. That's exactly what it did. It didn't allow anybody any legal access to anything, and certainly wasn't a medical marijuana bill. So, we applaud Alan Pease, but, he's stubborn, he's hard-headed, and they need to come around to the issue that we got to have some cultivation, we got to have some form of dispensary, we got to have some form of immunity here, and we got to let doctors make these decisions, or better yet, let you make your own decision about what you're going to use for medicine.
Okay, right here in the front, ma'am, you got a question?
You high? Blast?
Anyway, so that's my main concern with that is because I'm struggling so hard in getting, the approval for this drug to be used. My question is, have we reached out to any of the other normals in the states where the drug has been better now. Okay, I changed up. Why aren't we in the legislator's face? The LMP and the legislators turn this down. Why aren't we telling them what they did wrong? I'd be more than happy to go in there and show him my MRIs. These are things that I think if we relate to them as people, they'll see us as people. Those two girls, that were the top rate this whole time. It was very sad to see them on TV. Very sad. But obviously it wasn't sad enough. So I think, why don't we have more of a media presence? I emailed, the night before the election, I emailed a letter to every single senator, to all the news stations. I even sent one here requesting. And the news station, called me back, or emailed me back and said, let me know. We'll see what we can do with this. I just want to know why we're not mad. Why are we not pissed off about it?
I can only speak for myself, okay? My experience.
Hold on 1 second, James, because I need to get this for the camera.
Okay.
Basically, you would like to know, are we networking with other Peachtree Normal chapters in other states where laws have gotten passed? And why isn't there more media coverage involved? And why we mad?
We are mad.
No,
we have been.
We're mad enough that we, Sharon and I and others in this room have spent many hours down there. We spent many hours of our lives on the internet, emailing. We've done position papers. We've gotten it into their hands. We've done polling. We've gotten it into their hands.
You've done all the right stuff. What I'm saying is...
Well, let me answer your question about the media. We are getting media, and please plug in. The media has been very good to us on this issue. I've had reporters at my home doing interviews. I've met them on the interstate on the side of the parking lots to do interviews with these people. They're very interested in this subject. They know us. We are building a rapport with them. There are things going on. We do stuff that you'll probably never know about. But it takes more than these few people to do it. I'm not sure being mad is necessarily the way to go. I'm more determined and to make things happen. I'm mad. Mad was when the shotgun was put in my face. Okay. Mad was when they put handcuffs on me. That's mad. I'm beyond that. We want to change these laws, and so I can only say that each one of you have a role to play. Again, it comes back to you. We can only do so much here. We try to be the face for the movement and the voice for the movement. Things are happening. I mean, I get every week I get several phone calls from media, radio, television, college stations, college reporters, wanting to know what's the story and what's the scoop. So I think we've done pretty well with that. What they did, we're doing, I think, the right things. Like, as you said, we are lobbying, we are hooking up, they know who we are. If they want to quote on the cannabis issue, they know who to call. So please, we need more involvement, but maybe you in your hometown can contact your editor or your TV station or your, whatever the big news outlet is there, and contact them and put a face to the issue. Tell them the story. If you want to do a rally in your town, we still rally and generate some news stories. We have to generate news here. So we're doing what we can. I hope everyone can pitch in and help us.
I'm sorry if it came across as though you're not doing enough. That's not what I meant.
No, how you can do it. Let me say this. The one thing that I see that we haven't gotten close to doing that is something that each and every one of you can go home and do. And that's write some op-eds. Call and find out your local newspaper what their op-ed deal is, whether it's 300 or 500 words, and start writing op-eds. We need to, we've got, like he said, the radio stations are calling us. I mean, for goodness sakes, I was in a car for an hour and a half driving down here from my house yesterday, and I got, 6 or 7 phone calls. 2 of them are interviews from local news stations. They're calling us, we're calling them, we're putting out press releases. But back to the normal question. We have reached out to them. I started doing that before I started reaching out to my legislators. I've got every single person that I could possibly need, including Keith Stropp's number on my cell phone. We do talk to them. I talk to them almost weekly. Yes, the southern states have all come together. There's some representatives coming here today from other southern normals. That was my thing. I traveled around the United States with the help of my husband and his checkbook for the past 2 years. I've been to Denver 5 or 6 times. That's where they legalized it. That's what I want to know. I've been to Seattle. I've been to Boston, to the Boston Freedom Rally. I went out there as well, not just to get help from them, but to wake up America that the Bible Belt is in this now. And to try and get help from them. And I don't know if you recognize, if you've seen it or not, but I made High Times this week. Thank you, Jessica. And he, at the very end, said, if you want to put some money somewhere, put it in Georgia. So hopefully we'll be getting some money coming in here pretty soon. And that is another thing that we're doing, is going out to the Cannabis stuff. We're going to be working the normal table there. I'll be working the normal Women's Alliance table. And my daughter and I are going out for 10 solid days to go talk to some money people. Yes.
I'd also like to comment. Cannabis sells, so when you are reaching out to your local newspapers, we've had a lot of success. I think on Monday I'll have an article in Gainesville Times, so that'll make 6 articles in the last 2 months. Granted, that's with Good Samaritan policies and stuff like that, but all it took was me calling up there with a pitch. And a medical patient who's fighting for their rights will sell newspapers. So let that be encouragement. In terms of what SSDP does, Students for Sensible Drug Policy, we're connected with 240 chapters in 8 countries. So all of us carry national and international connections, and it's just a matter of utilizing them at the right time. In some aspects we do. Granted, different states have different things going on, different countries have different policies towards things, but the overall objective is the same for our organization.
Let me add something about, I was joking about the millionaires, but I'm serious about this. Movements need money, and I know everybody gives what they can give, and you need to help normal. You need to help the organizations that are trying to help you and help change these laws. And I know you give what you can give, but here's the other part: is there's people out there who, all over this country, who are making lots of money and who have experienced a little bit of freedom and legalization, etc. So hopefully, we need to seek out people who can donate. Understand, we've had a small budget to work with, and we're volunteers. At some point, we have to move up. We have to become professional about what we're doing. We have to pay our way, and we have to have opportunities to reach out like every other campaign out there does. And you know what it takes. So keep that in mind. How can you raise funds? Can you do I don't know. I'm not a fundraiser. I wish we did fundraisers. I'd give you 50% of anything you bring to the table. We need cash.
Exactly. Why don't we all just pull out everything out of our attic and donate 50% of the proceeds of our garage sales this summer?
Find that one millionaire or that one organization or that one thing that, $10,000 is going to be a lot with printing our literature, with getting our campaigns together, and to do things that we can't do right now. And, if we could have 10 times the resources we had, we'd be 10 times closer to where we need to be. So think about that.
Anybody know Ted Turner?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your question. Thank you for your passion, and we pray you find some relief for your condition soon. Do we have any more questions in the back there? Good morning.
Well, actually, you do have a right to choose it, and people choose to do that every day. It's just that, you know, you're going to face the consequences. I think we certainly have freedom. You have the freedom to make your own choices. Are you willing to take the risk doing that? That's the whole other issue. So, what was the other part of the question? I'm sorry? Human rights. This is a human rights issue, is it not? It goes along with every other human right issue out there. Civil rights, however we want to deal with it, it deals with our civil liberties, our right to choose for ourselves what we want to do with our lives, and not have someone else. And the irony of what we saw in the legislature was they decriminalized heroin use. If somebody overdoses and you need to call 911, it seems to be decriminalized. They wanted to decriminalize shipping 55-gallon drums of 2% THC CBD oil across state lines against federal law, but I can't sit on my couch and smoke a 2% THC joint without facing prison time. So the irony is there. And what are these people thinking? If we can decriminalize it on this other aspect, certainly I should be able to sit on my couch. So human rights issues. Think about the prisons. Think about all the people that we have the freedom to drive here and participate in this today. And we have friends sitting in prison right now. So let's don't forget about that. We have people locked into, in the medical situation. They feel like they're in prison too because they can't get the medicines they need. So think about those that we're working for here. So it is a human rights issue.
I was also going to comment on that. A good resource from the ACLU did a report in 2012, and it goes by county basis and the racial disparities in marijuana arrests. It's quite astonishing, some of the counties in Georgia. Yeah, so I think they'll talk about that later.
And we have a panel talking about that today, actually. Chad Brock with the ACLU will be here. There's a lot to be done. It is a human right. It's a civil right. It's just I'm to the point where I'm starting to believe that the federal government and our legislators should be tried for war crimes against humanity. We're all victims of prohibition. Whether you've been arrested, whether you're sick, or whether you just want to use it for the heck of it, or you want to use it for preventative maintenance. I mean, so we've just got to all stand up and do our part. And the more people that get involved. But let me say this. Every time I walked in, and it may be because I work for Normal, every time I walked in to have a consultation or a meeting with a senator or representative or one of their aides, they don't want to talk about medical. I think they already know medical's coming. They want to talk about how we're going to stop arresting everybody. And you can't hardly find a police officer in this state that isn't for it either. So just keep pushing the issue. And I believe we're going to have some, what would you say, James? I imagine, well, we've already got a bill that's going to be introduced. If y'all haven't heard or seen it, it's SB 432. And that was brought a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago by Senator Kurt Thompson. Had a meeting with Dr. Uma, who will be speaking later today, and myself with him on Friday. Is it Friday? No, it was Thursday. I'm so confused this week. Anyway, we're probably going to have a really good, real medical bill. I feel like with Gary Black, we're going to probably end up with a little bit of support on hemp. So we'll have that, and we're going to have a decriminalization bill. I'm sure the legalization bill will probably be thrown in the trash can. But at least we're going to have those three things to work on next year. So when we say we need your help, this year it was very hard doing what James and I and the people that came down periodically to help us at the Capitol did. That was on one bill that we didn't even like, okay? Next year we're going to have three that we're going to want all three to pass. And so we're going to need you next year. And, you know, even if you can just come down to the Capitol a couple days or make it, you know, but the main work's going to need to be done, honestly, from now until January. We need to prime the pump, so to speak, and be ready to hit it hard on January 3rd or 4th, whenever they come back into session.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, panel. Another question in the back.
Hey guys, I'm the chairman of the Libertarian Party. I'd like to say thank you for what y'all do for us. I really appreciate it. We're talking about getting some publicity, press. Maybe I'm out of place when telling you guys this, but I need a lieutenant governor candidate. Okay? And one of the things that happens when you're a lieutenant governor candidate, you get to be in the debate, you get to be on TV, you get press. Let me tell you the other thing. What do you think it costs to run an ad, seen in your flying TV at 8 o'clock at night downtown? If you're a candidate, it's $30. And guess what? They have to take your ad. And whatever you put in, they have to take it. So if you're for legalizing marijuana, you're the lieutenant governor candidate, you can run an ad legalizing marijuana and talk about it. So if you guys are interested in talking about it, I would love to talk about it. I want a candidate who's bold, who wants to talk about doing what it's like, about legalizing marijuana. You guys try it. If you want to get arrested, if you want to go run a pediatric chief, I've done it. I've run thousands of chief for our candidates in Massachusetts. I'm not trying to push the philosophy. If you want to have a chance to get some press, I have a vehicle and I'm willing to work with you. Anybody else, please do talk about it.
Is anyone interested in running for lieutenant governor? All these awesome activists.
I see a few out there that maybe are going to do that. Yeah, but seriously, that is an awesome opportunity. If anybody is into politics at all, I mean, of course, just having that open opportunity, like you said, to get the word out there. It's not like we got to win, but let me say something. With the poll we got this year, be careful. You may win.
Well, let me just say something about the Libertarian Party. You know, they've been around for a long time, and they support us. They support the liberty issues and freedom in this country. They run candidates in Georgia every year. They have ballot access issues that they have to keep candidates on the ballot. This is a great opportunity for the cannabis movement. I think even the agriculture commissioner's position would be open if you want to run on a hemp platform. This is simply to educate people and get that the earned media she was talking about, to be able to do the interviews and the WSB shows and the debates, etc. Gary Black, we've met with the agriculture commissioner. I think he's unopposed, so you know he would be a friendly thing to do. I think Gary Black would support hemp. Industrial hemp in this state, the farmers. I think that's an issue he would certainly support. So thanks to the Libertarian Party and the principles that they stand for, and thank you, Doug, for what all you do.
Yeah, thanks, Doug, for being here. And sponsoring.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you to the Libertarian Party of Georgia for coming out and supporting the Peachtree Normal. We have time for maybe one or two more questions. I see a hand in the back, sir.
I'd like to thank Sharon for speaking. I'm from Colorado. One of the things we do in Colorado was we kept this conversation from 1992 until 2012 when we finally did it. You know, and it was constantly talking about, you know, going to the legislators, doing exactly what she said. We have to get up there and get out and do it. Sharon, I'm working with you in Colorado. Never asked for money. I know what it comes to.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sharon, you missed one conversation. By the way, that was a long conversation, was it not? To move that legislation. No,
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. It's a long conversation. So, you know, let's be patient but persistent with what we're doing here. It's not going to happen overnight, so we'll just keep pushing.
Thanks for that that look at it. You know, 10 years into wow. Yeah, we've got to stay persistent.
We've got a long.
But thank you to Colorado, by the way, because y'all have really started the ball rolling all over this country. Thank you.
Colorado. Thank you for joining us today, sir. I saw another hand in the back over here.
Yes, there's been a lot of talk about money, and especially with recent news that's been coming out of Colorado. I've been wondering what's been done to organize like the business community and the entrepreneurial community that would like to see legalization for this or businesses here.
We're looking for organizers and coordinators on that particular project, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the question was,
organizing the entrepreneurial community.
what are we doing to organize businesses and the entrepreneurial businesses in Georgia?
Well, like James said, we need help with that. We need people to step up and take that on. That's not honestly something I can put on my plate. Keep in mind that all of us up here are either students full-time or we work full-time. I own a business as well. It's not doing real great right now because I've been busy. But that's okay, we'll build it back up. So yeah, we need somebody to actually step up and do that. We need fundraisers, we need people to be on our advisory board with Normal. We're going to start an advisory board right now, we just have the board. But we'd like to get people, in charge of doing that kind of stuff. I'm trying to split up the state right now and find 4 leaders for the veterans to come up. I need, to pull in the veterans on the medical issue and on the PTSD. We need to be fighting hard for that. So each project within itself needs a leader. And that's what we're looking for. Hopefully today some leaders will come out of this house right here, this conference. And it can be as little time as you have to spend on it or as much as you want to. But be careful because it becomes addictive. Unlike marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Madai. Nice to see you.
I just wanted to let you know that I'm actually here on behalf of Cannabis careers here out of California, and we help pioneers and entrepreneurs in the business industry so that you can learn what it is you need to know about the medical cannabis and hemp industry so that you can be successful and compliant with the laws of whatever state that you choose to have your business in. So I'm here, and if you have questions, you can come and speak to me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, do we have any more questions for the panel? Questions? Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you to the panel, James Bell of Georgia Care, Jeremy Sharp of SSDP, University of North Georgia, and Sharon Ravert, Mama Wana.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in, Tokers and Tokettes. Russ had to run off to catch some donations, so we can bring you more live events just like that. I guess I was a little late to the show today, but we'll be back tomorrow with another live episode of the Russ Belville Show and Toker Talk Radio. Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink coming up tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. Tune in. And for Radical Russ and everybody here at 420radio.org, until next time.
This is the Russ Belville Show.
Take care of each other, Tokers.
The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it.